out. There we go.
Beautiful. Yay. So as soon as I was given this assignment, I knew that I wanted to interview you. We met at, a static forest, and just knowing about all of the different things that you do, I'd really like to dive a little bit deeper in that, and because it's so different, what you do compared to what I've learned in massage school as far as like career paths go. So really think I would like to share this with my class.
That's awesome. And it's very flattering too. So I do appreciate you, girl. And there's really so many different career opportunities out there. And we only learn the bare minimum in school. Like, honestly, we learn enough to pass our state exam, hopefully, but we don't really learn the business part of it, the community part of it, the social aspect of it. Like, we don't learn anything about business or common sense. It's just the bare basics. So, school is great, but you learn the real stuff after you graduate, for sure.
So with that, what all states are you licensed in?
I'm currently licensed officially in Louisiana and Texas, and I'm working on my Colorado, Utah, and Washington license, which is fun dealing with all these state boards. But there's also some things I can do in some states without having that license. And in some states, and you have to do a lot of research, but in some states, you can work underneath a licensed practitioner for a couple of weeks. If you're working underneath them, that way you don't have to get a license, but the laws and regulations are always changing. So it's something you really have to research, but that's why I like to do more than just massage. I'm trying to get my certificates and other things as well that will allow me to, I really hate to say it this way, but find the loopholes, especially for the stuff that we like to do, like going to festivals and stuff. Why am I gonna try and get a state license if I'm working a festival for 3 days whenever I can just take donations instead? So there's a lot of different ways to navigate this, but it does take a lot of research for sure. And of course, I'm not the end all. People need to have the common sense to look at their state licensing and to ask around before they do start charging people in different states. So obviously that's a disclaimer, but if you do enough research and if you have enough different sort of certifications, that allows you to do more than just massage. Like if you were to be a licensed yoga instructor, you can technically do yoga massage and put your hands on people. Same thing with an ordained minister. So again, you have to check state to state, but there's also works in progress right now of a compact license, meaning that we should be able to travel from state to state under certain restrictions. I don't know much about it. From what I've heard, I think it initially is going to apply to military bases and stuff where people can hop around, but hopefully that will allow people like us to be able to just kind of do like travel nurses do. So let's keep our fingers crossed for that.
Yeah, totally. Definitely. What exam did you take for your licensing?
I took the NBLEX, and of course, some states don't have that, but I took that back in 2009. I probably wouldn't pass it again if I had to take it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm sure. Did you think it was pretty tough? Did you learn an adequate amount of stuff? Did you pass it the first time?
So I actually did pass it the first time with flying colors, thank God, but I also didn't second guess myself. And anatomy is not my strong point, and my NBLEX was very heavily based on ethics, more so than anatomy. So, and then I've asked a couple of my people in Badass Body Workers who were about to take their NBLEX, what their test was like, and it's so different. Each person tells me it's so different. So I don't know what the standard is now. But yeah, we did take the NBLEX, and in some states they don't have that, but they do have some states like California, you're not required to take the NBLEX, but you do have to go through a certification program, or there are certification programs available. So it varies from state to state, but I wouldn't pass it again if I took it now.
No, yeah, it's just so much information. From what they're telling me, you've got, your anatomy, your kinesiology, and the business and ethics, and even
yes,
the national laws and stuff. and then it's all condensed to like 100 questions. Like, how could you? It's kind of intimidating, like choosing what to study. I'm not really sure, but
With me,
yeah.
whenever I was in school, because I am not anatomy like based, and I also like to say one of my favorite quotes, I want to print this on a t-shirt, is I only remember the name of 5 muscles and 4 of them are quads. But honestly, like I don't know the name of those either. But yeah, and I also used to say, like, remind myself when it comes to the anatomy portion to just name all the muscles after dinosaurs because they all sound like dinosaurs, right? Like I
Yeah.
was curious, like, does that not sound like a dinosaur? So whenever I started associating muscle names with like these weird things that help stick in my brain, that really did
Mm.
help out for sure.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for that tip.
Oh, and I
Mhm.
do want to digress a little bit too, Raven. Whenever I got my license transferred from Louisiana to Texas, so some states, I think in Louisiana, if you are licensed for 5 years consecutively, sorry, I gotta let the dogs out. They're scratching at the door. But I think if you're licensed for 5 years consecutively or X number of years consecutively, it's a lot easier to get your license because if I had tried go outside. If I had tried to like go to New York, I would have to go to school again. But whenever I apply for Texas, I just had to pay all the state fees and take their local jurisdiction exam. So their local
Mhm.
laws had nothing to do with anatomy. So some states, like whenever you do transfer your license, you do have to take their it's not a state exam. It's basically like a laws and ethics and regulations exam just to make sure that
Mhm.
therapists are familiar with, the rules in their area. So I did want to touch base on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for expanding on that. So why did you choose massage?
Honestly, girl, I didn't choose it. It kind of chose me. And my
Oh, I
story,
love that.
my story, that's so cliche, right? But my story is I was picking up a friend from work and she
Mhm.
was running late. And it happened to be in the same building as massage school. And I was bored. And I saw a sign that said massage is $20. And I'm like, oh, cool. I've never had a massage before. I have a $20 bill on me. And I went
Mhm.
upstairs and asked them if I could book a massage. And they said, well, um, it's a school and we do clinicals on Friday. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Can I look at the curriculum? And I did. And I loved everything that was on it so much. I signed up for the program and went to school the next day, 3 days after that semester had started. I was like, fuck it. I want to do massage therapy. This sounds fun. I was saving up all my money, actually, ironically enough, to move to Austin to go to
Mhm.
naturopathic school. And I did save up my money and I paid for massage school instead. And then stayed in Louisiana forever. And now I'm here in Texas. So it's
Oh, wow. Yeah, it does sound like it. You just kind of wandered into it, but it
What
must.
about you, girl? What is drawing you towards massage therapy? What pulls the
Um,
heartstrings?
yeah, the physical touch really means a lot to me, and providing, safe space to be able to provide that is really important to me because not a lot of people are getting the touch that that humans need, the connection that we need. Yeah, so that's really my main driving force, and I signed up because I like getting massages.
Right?
So,
And when
yeah.
people think it's crazy whenever I tell them that I signed up for massage school without ever having received a massage in my entire life. But a lot of people I know are like that. They're just so
Definitely.
drawn to it. But back whenever I was in high school, I graduated in 2008. And then I went to massage school like right after. So I went from high school to massage school and I was just waiting tables between then. But whenever I first signed up for school, I was like, what the hell am I doing? Did I make the wrong choice? Like I almost dropped out like 3 times,
Mm,
mostly because of
mm,
Eastern modalities and Thai massage because I couldn't wrap my head around it. And ironically enough, that's what I focus on now is like more Eastern based
right.
stuff. So it's funny the things that challenge you sometimes end up being like your niche.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. Let's see. So, what school was it that you attended, and how many hours was the program?
Sure. So my school that I attended no longer has a massage therapy program,
Mhm.
but they're still a trade school. So I went to a really tiny itty bitty school, more career college in Baton Rouge,
Mhm.
and that was 750 hours total, but we only
Mhm.
needed 500 hours to take our licensing exam. So when I hit 500 hours, I went ahead and applied for my test and everything. That way, by the time I was done with school, I didn't have to wait 3 or 4 months to take my exam because I wanted all that info
Mhm.
like fresh in my head. And if I failed it, oh well, I would just take it again with everyone else. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. And you did great. You passed on the first time.
oh,
So
I
what
thought
was
I failed.
Oh,
Like
okay.
I for sure failed whenever I took the exam, but honestly, like the couple of questions that I missed is because I second guessed myself. So like we're
Mm.
intuitive people, and I think it's important too, like even when we are taking more a structured approach, like taking a test instead of just having
Mm.
our hands on people, is still just as important to follow your intuition and not
Mm.
like doubt yourself or second guess.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So what was your favorite class of the program?
Well, my favorite class was honestly, it was Tai Chi.
Mhm.
We had a Tai Chi course, and that was my favorite because I love the gentle, slow, intuitive, very intentional movement. And that's not
Yeah.
something I had ever had. And I didn't even know Tai Chi was a thing. And that really got me interested in like Eastern modalities as well. And oddly enough, my Tai Chi teacher, his son is an acupuncturist, and he's
Mm.
my mentor, and he's the one who taught me cupping therapy. So Tai Chi was my favorite class, but modality wise for massage, we didn't really learn that much in school. I mean, we learned like your quote unquote deep tissue and relaxation.
Mhm.
We didn't learn cupping or anything. But if we had learned cupping in school, that definitely would have been my favorite modality for sure.
Yeah, cool. And yeah, I've seen a couple videos of your fire cupping, and your cups are beautiful, by the way.
Thank you. What's
Um,
your favorite class that you've been taking so far?
yeah, I've really enjoyed, I'm doing Eastern modalities right now. And so that is, that's my jam. It's been really great. I was surprised about how much I enjoyed anatomy, even though it was like really tough. Whenever I took my anatomy for my yoga certification, I remember sitting there in the middle of class, like, this is so hard, like I'll never pass this, like I don't even understand anatomy. And so it was really great to transition directly from my YTT to my massage, with that fresh in my mind. And my professor is really great, and really, he's a great teacher.
Yes. And I always tell massage therapists too, your clients really don't give a shit about the anatomy. They don't care about the modality. They don't care what your muscle
Hmm.
is called. They care about how they feel after. So I find that a
Hmm.
lot of therapists tend to, especially newer therapists straight out of school, they tend to pull out the big guns and
Yeah.
want to show off all the words in order to be perceived as more educated by their client. But in reality, clients don't give a shit. They really
Hmm.
don't. And I actually tell my clients, my spiel to my clients, Raven, is if I have a new client, after I'll go over their health intake form, I'm like, now that I know a little bit more about you, I'm going to tell you about me. And
Hmm.
I let them know first and foremost that I value my time in there. So they're going to get the absolute best service I possibly can give during our time together.
Hmm.
So it sets that trustworthiness right off the bat that the clients
Love
know
it.
that I value their time. So I'm not going to do some basic half-ass job. And then I
Yeah.
also tell them I've been doing this for 13 years,
Hmm.
and I've taken a lot of different classes and modalities and have a lot of skill sets that the client is unaware even exist. So I use an accumulation of all of my knowledge and education to give them a customized service to what their body tells me they actually need. And yes, that can include quote unquote deep tissue, or what they perceive to be deep tissue as firm pressure. Let's call it what it is. Clients think deep tissue is firm pressure. Cupping, hot stone, stretching. I let them know I'm going to do whatever I need to do within the time frame that I have, because I charge by my time, not by modality.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
again, I cannot stress enough, clients do not give a shit what we're doing. They only care about the results afterwards, period. you'll get the random clients, like maybe people who are power lifters that do care like where your biceps are, but honestly, they're probably going to know the names of the muscles better than you will anyways. So
Mm-hmm.
it's important to reflect back to the client their own language. So if they tell you my back is hurting, you can tell them that you're so excited to work with their back pain. That way they can reach their goal of being able to play with their granddaughter for an extra 2 or 3 hours without having pain. So clients want to hear what they're benefiting from the results. I will have more time with my grandchildren or to do XYZ because I don't have a pounding headache, on the
Mm-hmm.
clock every single day. So it's important to mirror back the client's language. Anyways, I'm like going down a rabbit hole now.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love it. So with that, I really like how you do customized servicing and don't charge by modality, and only charge by your time. I honestly haven't heard of that until I saw something that you posted, that was actually a thing. And yeah, that really resonates with me, about like I've got, I'm wanting to build up a huge skill set, and yeah, we don't know what works or what doesn't until we do it. And I don't want someone to be like, oh yeah, I want to do deep tissue, but in actuality, like if you put any pressure on them, they like seize up, and like obviously they don't need deep tissue.
Yes. And clients, they don't know what they need sometimes. And this is
Mm-hmm.
for every single person in the world, Raven. We only know what we're exposed to. That is it, period.
Right.
So if our clients have never been exposed to chiropractic or cryotherapy or acupuncture or massage, obviously, or they're not gonna, they might be a little trepidatious at first because they're like, whoa, I've never heard of that. So it is important to also educate our clients, but not to the
Mm-hmm.
point where we're using so much jargon that their eyes glaze over and they stop caring, because we also have to remember too that humans these days, and what is this year, 2022? We're already inundated and extremely overwhelmed with notifications
Mm-hmm.
and things to process. So the less info that you give your clients to have to digest, the better it's going to be for keeping them in. Because I don't know about you, but if you go and see a body worker and they're spending like 40 minutes talking about anatomy and self-care afterwards, you're like, oh my God, I can't wait to get the fuck out of here.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's very important to be intentional with that for sure.
Mm-hmm. So whenever you started out, did you know this is the type of massage that you were gonna do, or were you like, oh, this one's my favorite, so I'm gonna stick with this one?
Well, you gotta try it to see if you like it, right? Just like the food
Yeah.
you eat. But I literally only learned like relaxation and quote unquote deep tissue in school. Like we didn't even go over hot stones. So I decided, instead of taking these BS online courses that I can copy and paste the answers from, like seriously,
Mm-hmm.
these online courses that are attached to these insurance memberships, they're okay for you to get your hours, but they're not actually educating you. So I actually take
Mm-hmm.
classes that my state doesn't even approve. That doesn't mean I cannot perform them. It just means I cannot collect a piece of paper for it. So I really encourage people to go after like what is interesting to them, not just, paper collectors. Like, oh, I get a CEU
Mm-hmm.
for this. Learn what you want to learn. And if it comes with the CEU, great. But learn what you want to learn. Don't just try and take the most basic stuff in order to get your license, because you want to make sure that you're doing what you're passionate about. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm so sick of seeing massage therapists burn out because they're just taking the most, you know, basic classes, or they're just working 24/7 and they don't ever get back to themselves. And when it comes to anatomy and massage, like it's a never ending school. It's never ending. I learn every single day, and I've been doing this for a while now. And there's people my senior who've been doing this for 30, 40 years and they're still learning. And that's what's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful about this industry is we
Mm-hmm.
could just keep learning and implementing. And people like us who are interested in stuff like sound bowl therapy and plant medicine and meditation and card readings, like there's no reason why we can't have a full wellness package for people. And I see that happening after COVID, especially, out of the almost, like, I think I have like a 9,800 spa owners and massage therapists and badass body workers now, which is awesome. But I see so much, like all the women there are like, I'm ready to pivot and transition my business and move on to a next chapter. I want to add in energy work and Reiki. How do I do that? So it's not, people aren't just coming to body workers now for just massage. They're coming for a whole like experience. And especially if that could be neatly packaged up for somebody and delivered to them, people are buying experiences these days, not just one service. And it's so much easier to keep a regular client coming back than it is to keep seeing a bunch of new clients just one time. So
yeah, you really put that very well. That's definitely something that I am looking forward to building as like a whole experience, incorporating all of the different things that I feel that resonate with deep healing, not just the muscles, but you know, it goes so deep. Like our muscles store memories, our tissues store memories, and like we don't even know, you know, about that. Yeah, I love that.
I always say that people store their emotional pain in their physical bodies, and then clients wonder why, you know, their neck isn't releasing, you know, like you can't get rid of 20 years of pain in 20 minutes. And that's something I'm very, very transparent about with my clients. I tell them that I'm never going to recommend them something that I don't think will work for them or that I wouldn't do myself. So I used to tell my staff, Raven, whenever I had a full staff in my spa, I used to tell them, you're not a massage therapist, you are their health and wellness concierge. So that's how I labeled myself. Actually, I actually call myself a massage artist because it is an art form, you know, and we're like around the table and we're sending energy to our clients with their permission. Of course, you never want to do energy work without their permission, just a heads up. But there's so many things that we can do for our clients. Like, why should body work only be focused on one thing like Western medicine is, right? Like these therapists bitch about doctors in Western medicine, but what are massage therapists doing? They're only focusing on, oh, my shoulders hurt, let me massage here. Well, guess what? The problem's not coming from your shoulders, it's coming from your pec or your abdomens. Like, let me work everything. So I think that body work is now starting to have a more holistic approach, which is amazing, because we're now focusing on the entire well-being and the entire client instead of just what hurts. So it is important to keep that in mind as well, that sometimes, yeah, we do store our emotions in our bodies and we do have a lot of like deep rooted memories or traumas or whatever. And a massage is not going to be the end all answer to everything, but it can very well be a huge portion of their whole self-care and wellness routine.
Yes, I love that. Massage artist. Something
or muscle manipulation engineer, if you want to be snarky and sound more fancy.
Muscle manipulation engineer. Yeah, I'm an engineer of the muscles.
Yes.
I'm really looking forward to also setting the whole space, you know, because some of the spaces that I've been into have been pretty basic, you know, here's your table and that's pretty much it. But I think the whole environment really contributes to that whole experience.
No more hospital sheets.
Yes. Yeah, I don't like the white sheets.
It's true though, because sure, our clients are going to be face down half the time or likely have their eyes closed most of the time. And by the way, if your clients keep their eyes open in the middle of a massage and it's super awkward, just buy an eye mask, seriously.
Yeah.
Like the cheapest thing you can do. But it's so important to set the environment because people like us, we are very tuned into our senses. So it's not just we're getting rubbed on, but like, what are the smells in the room? What are the textures of the sheets? What is the lighting like? Does your client like a particular type of music or even guided meditation? Or in my case, some of my clients listen to podcasts or also listen to nothing, which is excruciating for the therapist. But it is very important to set the tone and ambience for the client, because it's not just about them having the therapist hands on you. It really is about how do I want my client to feel as soon as they walk into my office. And something that I do for my clients, which is one of my quote business hacks, is I have these cool sheets. And it sounds so silly, but one time I had a new client come in wearing a Baby Yoda shirt. So I went
Mm-hmm.
back to my massage room and I changed the sheets to my Darth Vader sheets. And it had
Oh.
nothing to do with the type of body work that I give. But that client like sees me like clockwork every 6 weeks. And I'm pretty sure it's because I put a pair of Darth Vader sheets on. And one time I
Oh.
even like as a joke, my brother has a stormtrooper mask. So I put that on and I did a cupping video and sent it to silly, but like clients, they notice the small micro efforts that we make. And that really will help set you apart too. And it doesn't break the bank. I love
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, so great. So if you don't mind, I would like to ask you a little bit about the financial aspect of your journey.
Oh, fun.
Um, yes. So I've got some questions here. Um, so how much do you charge for your services?
So I'll tell you what I charge when I first start out. When I first started
Mm-hmm.
out, I charged $80 an hour, which was
Mm-hmm.
actually, and this was back in 2009. So I was charging $80 an hour back then. Um, and I don't know, I think I chose that number because I assumed people would pay me with $100 bill and not ask for change back for the tip. They did.
Yeah.
So, and then I just kept getting booked and booked and booked. And then after being booked consecutively, at some point I'm like, okay, I need to raise my rates because I need more time. And
Yeah.
then I kept like raising my rates. And then now fast forward to 2022, I'm charging $150 an hour for a massage or 185 for a 90 minute.
90 minutes. Awesome. Yeah, those are great prices.
And I
And
as a disclaimer too, like when I now I'm just by myself. Like when I first started, I was by myself. Now I'm by myself again. But that in between, I did have 3 or 4 staff members working for me, like part-time and full-time at my spa. So that did help out as well. Like after I kept getting so overbooked, you can only raise your rates so much before you just need to hire extra help.
Mhm.
So, I did have several years where I was managing a staff. And I actually charge a little bit, I charge about $20 or $30 less for them to deter new clients from booking with me. So instead of raising my rates again, I decided to only do 90-minute appointments. And anybody who wanted anything less than 90 minutes or wanted a cheaper price, they went to my staff, no ifs, ands, or buts. So you have to set your boundaries. So I did learn that the hard way after many times of burning out.
Yeah, that's great. Great advice. Um, let's see. So, here's a question. Can you give me some ideas of how successful your massage business is?
Well, then or now. So
Yeah.
when it comes to success, everybody has their own definition, right?
Hmm.
Since we're talking numbers, I assume people want to hear that if they're new. So, God, at one point, and I think the highest I ever claimed on my business taxes was like $265,000 for an
Hmm.
income before taxes and expenses. And that is when I had my staff.
Okay.
But for me, success means obviously to be able to pay my bills because that's like everyone's like core like must have, right? So
Yeah.
obviously I want my living expenses paid, but for me success is being able to live a life of freedom, not be tethered to one city, not have constrictions to just one spa. By the way, non-competes don't really stand up in court, by the way, unless
Mm.
you're massage envy or something. So if your employer tries to get you to sign a non-compete, I highly, highly recommend you look up the legalities of that and let them know. Like for me, I worked it with several different, so right now, Raven, since I don't have my brick and mortar business, I travel around and help out my colleagues, like my friends in Dallas, who can't work for a week or something. So I'm basically the fairy godmother that steps in and gives people a little bit of relief while being able to make a little bit of money. I don't have any strings attached. I don't have to do a practical and prove myself, prove my skills. So
Hmm.
you really have to define like what does success look like for you? Does that mean having a fully booked practice? Does that mean having 5 clients a day, 5 days a week? Does that mean only wanting to do 3 or 4 hands-on hours a week like me? Or at one point, my version of success was having an offshore schedule. Whenever I was living in New Orleans, I worked solid for like 3 or 4 weeks to a month or a little bit more. And then I would take a solid 2 or 3 weeks off because I couldn't really drive anywhere like in Louisiana. In order for me to go on a vacation, I either had to drive to Texas or take a plane somewhere. And that required me to take like a week off from work. So adopting that sort of offshore schedule worked best for me, but maybe you don't want to work weekends, or maybe you only want to work weekends. I used to not work evenings at all, and now I work evenings and I love it. So it is important, I think, for people to understand what their version of success is, and to know that it's okay to change and evolve and pivot. If something's not working for you, change it. You're not forced to be in one particular situation. So
Right.
there's always ways to grow. And you're not obligated to stay in a situation or on a schedule just because that's what you've been doing. Like, you're allowed to tweak things. So my version of success is just being able to tweak things and evolve and maintain that balance, and whatever that season brings for you, like, you're allowed to readjust your goals. So that's
Mm.
kind of like a long-winded answer, but it's
Yeah, it's
really
great.
individualized, you know?
Yeah, really great. Because honestly, that's something that's kind of I have a fear like of getting like stuck and doing the same thing over and over, and like I don't want to do that. Like you said, my goals change. I really I'm a Scorpio, and I really resonate with the transformation and rebirth aspect. So I'm like consistently, I feel like shedding skins and evolving.
And
I
like
love
for me, I don't like to, I'm an Aquarius, so I don't like
it.
I don't like to stay in one environment forever. I get bored easily.
Mhm.
I need creativity. So being able to apply for these, there's a website also called coolworks.com. You might be familiar with it, Raven.
Mm-mm.
So cool, like spelled like it sounds,
Mm.
coolworks.com. And you can go online and you can see these resort lodges, like in these national parks, that are hiring for part-time seasonal work, you know,
Mm.
so you could do stuff like that. You could do like what I do and just kind of fill in for people. If your version of success looks like working at this amazing spa resort and having benefits, that's fucking incredible too. There's just so many things we can do, from working conventions and festivals and retreats to
Mhm.
teaching to working for a spa to being mobile. And there's no reason why you can't do a couple of those all at once. So
Yeah.
knowing that there's other opportunities, like chiropractors too, knowing that there's, or like medical spas, knowing that there's opportunities outside of either, this industry is pretty polarized. It seems to be black and white, like it's either medical therapeutic or it's pampering frou-frou hippie. And there's
Mhm.
in between. And I'm definitely the in between. So I want to encourage more people to know that it's okay to be a little bit more holistic. Just because you're into anatomy doesn't mean that maybe you don't want to learn about crystal healing, or just because you're into doing Reiki doesn't mean you might not want to learn orthopedic techniques. So there's
Mhm.
something for everyone in this industry, and there's so much to choose from. We really are so lucky to be in an industry where we can literally curate our dream career, and that's
Yeah. Hell yeah.
incredible. That is so incredible.
Hell yeah. So do you have an accountant, and do you keep your own book?
I use QuickBooks, which is a
Mhm.
headache. I do have an accountant and CPA because that's important. People first starting out, I don't really recommend they need an actual accountant. I had payroll and income taxes to deal with, but I do
Mhm.
recommend that people have some sort of system. QuickBooks is a headache. So QuickBooks, FreshBooks, like Copilot, Truebill. There's so many different apps that are free or super cheap that you can pay for. But yes, you do need to absolutely keep track of all your expenses. But if you're
Mhm.
self-employed by yourself, that's going to be good enough. Like, you can use TurboTax and stuff. I think people tend to overthink it. As long as you keep track of your receipts, and trust me, you don't want to, like, for years, girl, I scrambled printing out all my credit card statements and highlighting stuff by hand. Oh my God, it's such a headache. So anything that can save you time, please God, I beg you, get some sort of system to keep your shit together. Even if you just print it out and highlight it and give it to an accountant later, you don't want to be scrambling at the end of the year because that will send you into a tailspin. Trust me, I know. And most massage
Mm-hmm.
therapists are not numbers people. And that's where I see a lot of people failing, actually, is not knowing the
Mm.
numbers and then wondering why they're not successful, or successful in air quotes.
Right, yes. Let's see. Do you, I'm sure you have.
Sorry about this. Go outside. Sometimes freedom comes with a lot of noise.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that.
It's
This is my
okay.
real life, y'all. It's not glamorous. It's not.
So I'm sure you've had some clients who were problematic, whether that be like hygiene issues or maybe they were rude. So if you could handle, or if you could share some of these experiences where you had to like really figure out how best to deal with the situation.
Oh God, honestly, I could write a whole book about this. I just want to preface by saying, if you have boundaries set in place right from the beginnings, your problems are going to be little to like nil to zero. So it's important to have those boundaries first and foremost, such as a cancellation policy is my number one thing. Oh my God, have a cancellation policy. For me, there's this progress that I see massage therapists do. They just book people without having a cancellation policy or any sort of standards. And then finally, once they get burned, when people no show enough times, they're like, I'm going to set a cancellation policy and have it, and then they set a policy, but they don't require a deposit or a prepayment or even a credit card on file. I can guarantee you that those people are going to be your problem clients. So if you don't want to have problems to start with, set boundaries right from the beginning. Of course, we're all going to come across a problem client, but the most quote problem clients that I've had have been the no-shows and the late arrivers. And I have to have a conversation with them. I'm like, you signed your cancellation policy. It's right here. We have to realize that we teach clients how to treat us. So have those boundaries and those standards in place right from the beginning. And I say all the time that the reason why the franchises are taking over, and I have nothing against the franchises. In fact, I like them because they're free marketing for me. They help keep me on the top page of Google. So thank you, massage franchises, because you're helping my SEO. But the reason why franchises are popping up is because they have something that small businesses don't. Which is policies, procedures, standards, and protocols. So if you have those in place, you're probably not likely going to get a lot of clients to begin with. Hygiene issues, that can, like, you can resolve that from the beginning by sending a welcome email to your clients. Whenever they book, they get a welcome email that shows them, tells them what to do to prepare for their massage. There's just like so many preventative measures that we can take to prevent those problems from happening to start with. And we don't have to let clients determine how we run our business. Too many times I see massage therapists letting their clients call all the shots, and that's unacceptable. That's a surefire way to lead yourself to burnout, to get taken advantage of. And the more we quote, make an exception for one client, you're just telling the universe, it's okay that clients run over me and take advantage of me because I'm allowing it to happen. So keep on coming. It's okay. So we have to set that standard right from the beginning, which is why earlier I told you how I do my spiel to my clients. I'm setting the standard. This is not going to be like every single massage you get. I expect you to trust me. And if you need to give me feedback during the service, you can. So clients want to have any burden taken off of them. And we see it now with online booking. It's just so much easier for clients to book online, and bam, everything's streamlined and automated. We don't have to worry about clients taking advantage or whatever. And they do that whenever they think they can because there's nothing written. So they're left to fend for themselves. So that was my long-winded rant on that.
Yeah, I love that.
I need
So
to
much
write a book on
information.
it.
Yes. Have you ever had a client act inappropriately, and how did you handle that situation?
Oh my God, yes, I have. And it's only happened No offense to all the students listening, but it's only happened like the first 2 years I was out of school because I was so completely desperate for clients. I would take
Mhm.
anybody, and predatory men, predatory, gaslighting, narcissistic men, they know how to smell fresh meat. And that sounds horrible, but it's true. And unfortunately, we are in an industry where every single therapist is eventually going to come across the happy ending thing and have to deal with it. So I have had a client get inappropriate. I had sold a package of, I think, 6 massages. He came in for 1 massage. And then the second massage, he got inappropriate. He basically exposed himself and said, oh, you forgot to massage something. And I said, this session has ended. I picked up his clothes, walked out of the room, and I said, you're going to put the money that you owe me underneath the door, or I swear to God, I'm throwing your clothes out on the fucking highway and you can go out naked and get them. So I put him in his place pretty quickly. Of course, he gives me the money, and then I throw the clothes at him, and he walks out of my office. And of course, I report him to the local authorities for, sexual misconduct or solicitation or whatever.
Mhm.
And then I had somebody else during a texting thread, which, by the way, please do not entertain your clients over text if they are new. Tone of voice is everything. Call them and ask them what their goals are. Do not entertain this bullshit over the phone. Don't.
Mhm. Mhm.
So this client was texting me, basically asking me for a happy ending. He even sent a selfie to me, girl. And I'm like, you know what? This guy's kind of young. I think I'm gonna teach this dude a lesson. So he solicited me, and I said, I'll meet you at my office tomorrow at 1 p.m. And I asked my friend who was a DEA agent to come to my office in full uniform.
Yeah.
It scared the shit out of him, girl. We're like, do you know what human trafficking is? And we gave him a lesson and shamed the hell out of him. So I'm sure that man has never called another massage therapist again. So I have gotten snarky with people, but honestly, like, I hate to say this, but we're all going to come across it at some point, whether unfortunately it happened in a treatment room. Again, have them sign papers. If they are inappropriate, have them sign papers. And please God, report these people to your local law enforcement.
Mhm.
Sure, your local law enforcement may not do anything, but it's a paper trail. So eventually, if these asshats do end up, having to suffer repercussions for their actions later, there's a paper trail behind them proving their ethics. And I'll straight up like post that shit to Facebook, dude. I will
Mhm.
shame the hell out of somebody. And what are they going to do? Get upset for asking me to do something illegal? No, if you don't want to be shamed, don't ask me for happy endings, or I'm going to tag your wife and mother in that post. I don't play around, girl. And
Yeah. I love it.
for everyone who's like, that's a HIPAA violation. First of all, you don't even know how to spell HIPAA. Okay. Nor do you know what it means. And second of all, it doesn't really apply in that situation.
Right.
So stop being scared to stand up for yourself.
Mhm.
Have the precautions in place for it not to happen to start with, hopefully. Don't have your don't have a lot of risque photos on your social media, or have your social media set to private like I do. I have clients on my social media. It's a great way for me to bond with them. They're also in a private list. That way they can't see certain things that I post.
Mhm.
So if clients are looking to, if men are like looking for fresh meat, they know exactly how to find it by looking for certain things. So yeah, that's something that every therapist is going to have a game plan for. But in reality, Raven, until it happens, or when it happens or whatever, we don't know what to do. It's either fight, flight, fawn,
Mhm.
or freeze. So
Right.
it's important. I used to tell myself all the time, oh yeah, I'd never let that happen to me. Well, it happened and I didn't know what the fuck to do in the moment. And luckily I just kicked in. And yeah, that's a tough one. We all are going to come across that, but report those numbers to the law enforcement. And also, like, if a client is inappropriate with me, I'll screenshot their phone number and put it to my local massage therapy group so my other therapist friends can blacklist them. I don't play around.
Mhm.
I am not going to. By the way, this is something I see in the industry that I really want the students to know. If you get a creeper client, please do not fall into the people pleasing trap of catering to them. Meaning, if your client is asking for a happy ending or inappropriate services or insinuating, and you're like, no, I'm sorry, I don't do that, but you might want to call this other therapist, let me give you a referral so I get you off my back. That is unacceptable. Do not ever, ever refer. a creeper client
Mhm.
to a colleague ever. So,
Mhm.
and I see that happen a lot because we're people pleasers,
Right.
and we don't need to be people pleasers to abusers. So stop catering to abusive and inappropriate clients. So that's something
Mhm.
I had to put in there because I see it all too often. And that's just,
Mhm.
we're trying to do the right thing, but in reality,
No.
we're sending harm in our colleagues'
Yeah.
way. And honestly, if I got my license revoked for reporting a client, I really don't give a shit because I just saved somebody from sexual assault. So,
Mhm.
I'm very passionate about this.
Yes, yes.
About it.
I love it. Yeah, thank you for sharing that passion. I think it is super important to, like you said, not entertain these people and let them get away with it.
Well, it's
'Cause that's not
let me put this into a real life example too. If you and your partner split up and have a really bad breakup and your partner is super toxic, would you try and find them a new girlfriend? Fuck no.
right.
Fuck no.
Right.
Don't send them in somebody else's direction. You know,
Yeah.
I'm on
Yeah.
a high horse now.
with
I'm off that
that
soapbox.
with that being said, I would like to know how you go about vetting clients. That's something that I really am interested in learning about because the clientele that I have in mind is, obviously respectful, but also energetically aware. Like between a massage, there's an energetic exchange on both ends, and I don't want to. I want to keep that safe container.
Yes. And it's interesting you used the word safe container because I just took an online marketing course about abusive or like anti-abusive sales tactics and anti-gaslighting, because we
Mm,
see a lot in marketing that in our position as a therapist, we are in a quote unquote superior position. So our clients are going to look up to us. We have to
mm-hmm,
know um, that the client and the therapist, first and foremost, are both on equal playing fields. There's not one higher than the other. So we have to take off that your therapist is on a pedestal thing. No, we're two normal people who are trying to help each other reach goals, right? Um,
mm-hmm,
but to vet clients, I just briefly mentioned call your clients, tone of voice is everything. And also calling your clients is way more efficient. Way more
mm-hmm,
efficient after you've established that relationship. I think it's okay to text. And honestly, I'll sometimes voice text my clients, and be like, hi, I'm Rebecca. I noticed that you booked an appointment, a new appointment with me. When you have a sec, I'd like to give you a call to discuss your goals. Having proper intake forms to fill out definitely helps. And of course, like this day and age, people do read reviews and they do look on social media. It's so important to have a really strong presence there that looks
mm-hmm,
professional. Again, going back to having risque photos on your social media profile, you want to make sure to have that kind of stuff blocked. And if you don't want your clients seeing stuff, you need to make sure that it's not like available for the public. But for people like us, like vetting, like people like us, when we're in our natural environment, which are festivals and stuff, we're kind of selling to people who already want to buy. So
mm,
it's not as difficult because we're hanging out where our ideal audience already is. And I find that the more quote difficult clients or having to vet clients are usually not in my immediate sphere. So like for me, I don't do a lot of orthopedic or medical massage. So I'm going to send them to a colleague of mine. That's when it's okay to refer out to colleagues because they're not
mm-hmm,
toxic. But honestly, just using your intuition. And I see
mm,
too many times online on Badass Body Workers, people put a screenshot and they're like, do you think this client is a creep? And I respond to them privately and say, if you have to go online and ask a group of almost 10,000 women, if this client's a creep, you already know the answer. How often
right.
does creep radar go off? Seriously, follow your intuition. It never lies to you. Now, if you're saying this to every single client, then I think you're just a little bit paranoid, you gotta like really listen to your gut and to your heart, but also
Mhm,
don't overanalyze stuff too. And don't don't make things like super complicated because clients, we know this when we're trying to book an appointment for a massage or for our hair, we also don't need to jump through hoops to book with you. If I have to jump through hoops, and if you make it difficult for me to book with you, I'm going to go somewhere else. So
Right.
you also have to make things easy for your clients, but very straightforward. So in my opinion, the simpler and more efficient we can keep things, the better. Like make
Mhm.
graphics of the services you offer. You know, have your policies written out, like have your hours of availability, have your rescheduling, like everything needs to be mapped out ahead of time. I used to always tell my staff, we make it stupid proof for clients. Like
Mhm.
even before
Mhm.
you arrive to my office, like your email is going to have a picture of the sign of the building.
Mhm.
There's no excuse. So if we make things stupid proof for people, it makes them a lot easier because it's less for them to process and jump through hoops. So
Yeah, yeah, love that. So what do you do for promotion or marketing if you do any of that? I know right now, currently, you probably don't since you're filling in. So what do you, anything to say
well,
about that?
it depends on the season for me. I
Okay.
can tell you that the only money I've ever spent on advertising was whenever I first graduated school. I was super excited and desperate.
Mhm.
So I ran an ad in a magazine. It was like $1,300 a month. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, but I thought it was a good deal. I'm like, oh, well, I only need to get X number of clients. Well, it turns out print advertisement doesn't really work in our industry. Sorry to break it to you. What works best for me, hands down, number one, Google reviews, set up a Google
Mhm.
listing. It's free. You can upload your
Mhm.
commercials, your videos, your stock photos. And again, marketing. People do not want to see a cliche stock photo of a white woman or Asian woman laying on a table with rose petals and stones down their back. Nobody gets a massage like that, especially with a
Yeah.
face full of makeup. So
Yeah.
please take your own stock photos, or very least like purchase stock photos that don't look cliche. Um,
Mhm.
QR codes are huge now, especially after COVID, because we're all used to them from restaurants,
Mhm.
right? So having a QR code, especially if you're an introvert, I'm not an introvert, but if you are, print out a QR code and put it on your t-shirt. That way people standing in line behind you
Mm.
at Starbucks or the grocery store can just scan your t-shirt, right? Um,
Yeah.
I lived in Louisiana, so Mardi Gras was huge. I used to throw out cups, like little plastic cups that said issues in your tissues, you need a massage, and had my phone number on it. Um, and then honestly, like social media is free. The algorithms kind of suck, but they are in favor of videos right now. So I would
Mhm.
get online and do fire cupping live, show people what it looks like live, and then go to I've set up at gyms before. So I personally am very against free chair massage. Again, we teach clients how to treat us. And if we teach clients, we will do work for free. We are not going to get clients that pay us anything. So
Mm.
I still have a massage chair and I still do events, but here's how. I'll go and do cupping. Only people that are interested in cupping, only my people, all the wackadoos are going to come and sit in my chair.
Mhm.
Everybody else is going to sit back and watch. So if I'm having somebody on my massage chair at an outdoor event or gym or whatever for free marketing, right? I'll put the fire cups on them. I'll take a picture of them with the fire cups and text it to them. So I have their phone number and they have their photo, and I tell them what my social media is so they can tag me. So at very
Mhm.
least, I'm getting a ton of free photos to put on Google. And the last time I checked, I think I'll have to find it and text it to you, Raven, so you can show the students in your class. But I've gotten like over 80,000 views on one photo. Like it's
Mm.
so important to upload photos online. So Google is king, social media. The algorithms are actually working for us, not against us, contrary to
Mm.
popular belief. You just have to ride the waves, you know.
Mhm.
I mean,
Mhm.
back when I was in school, girl, when I was in school, they said use yellow pages. And I'm like, what the fuck? This is 2009. Like, who uses yellow pages for anything other than a doorstop, or in my case, a booster seat, because I'm 5 feet tall, right? So, like, yellow pages is not going to work for us, but
Mhm.
posting fire cupping on TikTok, doing an Instagram reel on 5 ways to massage yourself at home, it will draw in clients. But that was long-winded. The short version of that is hang out where your clients hang out. You barely have to market at all, because
Mm.
you, and when you're surrounded by people who already want to buy, it's not like pulling teeth to get people in your door.
Mm. Yes, great. Love that.
But yeah, I could
Um,
write a book on marketing too. That's actually
so
my
many books.
my
Yes.
very condensed version of it.
What software do you use to book your appointments?
I use Vagaro. I've been using it for a while. I love it. And of course, if anybody's interested, I do have a 30-day free trial link, but I use Vagaro. There's other ones like Massage Book and Clinic Sense and Acuity that are really popular. Almost every single software system is going to have a free trial. And of course, YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Just look at YouTube. See what the back end of
Right.
the system looks like. And most systems, I actually had switched systems a while back. And whenever I switched from my old system to Vagaro, the software system took care of everything. I just sent them the PDF of all my emails and they did all the work for me. So they are there to help you. And
Mm-hmm.
I think a software system, even if you're a solo practitioner, and there's some free systems out there. I mean, hell, even Google Calendars, like you need something to remind your clients and to remind yourself. The easier you can make it for people, the better and less headache you're going to have. Like to me, like having everything handwritten down and all over the place is equivalent to like dropping a bag of rice on the floor and shit's everywhere. And it's more of a hassle to
Yeah.
streamline things later. So I highly recommend streamlining right from the beginning. And something that I do too, Raven, whenever I travel, because I work from state to state, the clients that I have in Dallas, I put a little cacti emoji by. So I know that those clients are from that spa in Dallas. The clients that
Mm.
are in Austin, I may put a big old sun emoji because it's hot as balls here, or a cowboy boot or something. In Louisiana, I'm going to put a fleur de lis symbol by their name. Or a spa that I worked at called Earth Savers, I put the little earth symbol. That way I knew where those clients were coming from. Um, Even something as simple as that, like you need some sort of organizational tool. That way you're not flopping about like a fish out of water. Because trust me, it's not
Mm-hmm.
fun. It's way more energy and effort to fix things later than to just have it like ready right from the get-go, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I love that. Thank you for your time. I need to wrap up soon. I'm going into work, but I really enjoyed reconnecting with you.
Of course.
Um, I know you've got a lot of partnerships and like links, like the Vagaro one, and I know you're partnered with an insurance, and so if you'd
Yeah.
like to share all of that, or you can text it to me, whatever is easiest.
Actually, if anyone's interested, they can just join the Free Badass Body Workers group because I post everything there. And I'm definitely
Mm-hmm.
a resource hub for sure. I always tell people like I've done it all and fucked up, so you don't have to. So I like to consider myself sort of like a concierge for the industry. Like I am familiar with a lot of
Definitely.
different systems and a lot of different classes and
Mm-hmm.
products to use. Like if you need recommendations for retail products starting off, or a type of massage oil, or an insurance, like
Mm-hmm.
I've done a ton of research on everything in the industry. So I like sending people in the right direction because I
Mm-hmm.
value time and I like saving people time. And thank you for
Yeah,
your time
beautiful.
too, Raven. I enjoyed talking to you as well.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Are you going to Medicine for the People in Austin?
I want to.
Yeah.
I actually messaged our mutual friend Al, and I'm like, "Hey, I want to take a sound bowl therapy class in Houston," and he's like, "You can't. That's the meditation for, or that's the medicine for the people weekend." I'm like, "Okay, calm down, calm down. I'll be there." But yeah,
Yeah.
I'll be there along with some other festivals I hope to see you at, and of course, I'll actually be in Dallas August the 13th or 14th through indefinitely whenever I feel like going back to New Orleans. So we'll definitely have
Mm,
to meet up then. And if I
yeah.
have any extra time, it might be cool to stop by the school and do a little talk with the students if they're interested in that. I'm happy to donate my time as well.
Yeah.
I'm so passionate about this, Raven, and I don't want to see
Mhm.
therapists like get discouraged and disheartened right from the get-go. So
Mhm.
we all need a little bit
Yeah.
of support. So
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And thank you so much. And I've really enjoyed being a part of your community online, the Badass Body Workers. I've learned so much from being there. And just really great conversation. Yeah, it's really nice.
I appreciate it, girl. Tell people to take out a notebook and take notes if they watch this, because I know that I dropped a lot of knowledge bombs and it can be a little
Yeah.
overwhelming at first, but things don't have to be, just
No, yeah.
write down your goals, write down everything on paper. I'm gonna go do
Mhm.
some puppy massage right now because these dogs are driving me a little crazy.
Oh, well, thank you again, and I look forward to seeing you. Thanks,
Sounds
Rebecca.
good, Raven. Bye.
Bye.